The Tunguska Event, a tale of mystery and wonder. In the early hours of June 30, 1908, the remote region of Tunguska in Siberia was a land of tranquility. The sun had just begun to rise, casting a golden hue over the vast expanse of forest. Birds chirped, and the gentle rustle of leaves filled the air. It was a typical morning for the small communities scattered throughout the region, where life moved at a slow, steady pace. Among the residents was a young reindeer herder named Alexei. He had spent his life in the wilderness, learning the ways of the land from his father and grandfather. As he tended to his herd, he felt a sense of peace enveloping him. Little did he know that this day would change everything. As the sun climbed higher, Alexei noticed something unusual in the sky. A bright streak of light cut through the blue, moving faster than any bird he had ever seen. He squinted, trying to make sense of the phenomenon. Was it a shooting star? A sign from the heavens? He felt a shiver run down his spine, but he dismissed it as mere superstition. Meanwhile, in the nearby village of Vanavara, the local schoolteacher, Maria, was preparing for the day's lessons. She had heard tales of strange occurrences in the sky, but she had always attributed them to the imagination of her students. Today, however, she would witness something that would challenge her understanding of the world. At precisely 7:17 a.m., the tranquility of Tunguska was shattered. A deafening roar filled the air, followed by a blinding flash of light. The ground trembled violently, and a shockwave swept through the forest, knocking Alexei off his feet. Trees were uprooted, and the sky darkened as dust and debris filled the air. Maria, who had just stepped outside, was thrown to the ground. She looked up in horror as the sky seemed to explode. The sound was unlike anything she had ever heard, a deep, rumbling growl that echoed through the valleys. In that moment, time stood still, and the world as they knew it was forever altered. When the dust settled, the landscape of Tunguska had transformed. An area of approximately 2,000 square kilometers lay in ruins, with trees flattened and scorched. The once vibrant forest was now a desolate wasteland. Alexei, shaken but unharmed, rose to his feet and surveyed the destruction. He could hardly comprehend what had just happened. In the days that followed, news of the explosion spread slowly. The remote location meant that few outside the region were aware of the event. However, those who lived through it shared their stories, recounting the bright flash and the earth-shattering roar. Many believed it was a punishment from the gods, a sign of impending doom. Years passed, and the Tunguska event faded from the minds of most. However, for a few determined individuals, the mystery remained. In 1927, Russian scientist Leonid Kulik embarked on an expedition to investigate the site. He had heard whispers of the explosion and was eager to uncover the truth. Kulik and his team arrived in Tunguska, armed with scientific instruments and a thirst for knowledge. As they trekked through the devastated forest, they were struck by the sheer scale of the destruction. Trees lay in a radial pattern, their trunks pointing away from a central point. It was as if an invisible force had swept through the area, leaving chaos in its wake. Kulik's findings sparked a flurry of theories. Some believed it was the impact of a meteorite, while others speculated it was a comet that had exploded in the atmosphere. The absence of a crater puzzled Kulik, leading him to consider the possibility of an airburst, a phenomenon where an object disintegrates in the atmosphere, releasing energy equivalent to a nuclear bomb. As Kulik and his team collected samples and documented their findings, they encountered skepticism from some in the scientific community. Many dismissed the event as a mere myth, a tale spun by superstitious villagers. But Kulik was undeterred. He knew that the truth was out there, waiting to be uncovered. The Tunguska event became a catalyst for scientific inquiry into near-Earth objects. As the years passed, researchers around the world began to take the threat of asteroids and comets seriously. The event served as a reminder of the potential dangers lurking in the cosmos. In the decades that followed, advancements in technology allowed scientists to study the skies more closely. Telescopes and satellites were developed to track near-Earth objects, and organizations were established to monitor potential threats. The legacy of Tunguska lived on, influencing policies and research aimed at protecting the planet. As the 21st century approached, the story of the Tunguska event continued to captivate the imagination of people around the world. Documentaries, books, and films explored the mystery, blending fact with fiction. The event became a symbol of humanity's vulnerability in the face of nature's power. In a small classroom in Vanavara, a new generation of students learned about the Tunguska event. Maria's granddaughter, Anya, listened intently as her teacher recounted the tale. Inspired by the stories of her ancestors, Anya dreamed of becoming a scientist, determined to uncover the mysteries of the universe. As Anya grew older, she became increasingly aware of the importance of studying near-Earth objects. She joined a group of young scientists dedicated to monitoring the skies and developing strategies to protect the planet from potential impacts. The lessons of Tunguska were not forgotten, they served as a rallying cry for a new generation. Anya and her team worked tirelessly, using advanced technology to track asteroids and comets. They collaborated with international organizations, sharing data and insights to create a global network of monitoring systems. The spirit of discovery that had driven Kulik and his team lived on in their efforts. As the years passed, Anya's work gained recognition. She became a leading voice in the field of planetary defense, advocating for increased funding and research. The world was beginning to understand the importance of preparedness, and the lessons of Tunguska were at the forefront of the conversation. One fateful day, Anya received news of a potential threat: a small asteroid on a collision course with Earth. The team sprang into action, utilizing all the knowledge and technology at their disposal. They worked around the clock, analyzing data and developing strategies to mitigate the risk. As the days turned into weeks, the world held its breath. Anya and her team presented their findings to global leaders, urging them to take action. The Tunguska event had taught them the importance of preparedness, and they were determined not to repeat history. On the day of the asteroid's closest approach, Anya stood in the control room, surrounded by her colleagues. The tension was palpable as they monitored the asteroid's trajectory. Would they succeed in averting disaster, or would history repeat itself? As the asteroid passed safely by Earth, a wave of relief washed over Anya and her team. They had successfully averted a potential catastrophe, and the world celebrated their achievement. The lessons of Tunguska had not been forgotten, they had inspired a new era of scientific collaboration and preparedness. In the years that followed, Anya continued her work, advocating for global cooperation in planetary defense. The story of the Tunguska event became a cornerstone of education, reminding future generations of the importance of understanding the cosmos and protecting the planet. The Tunguska event remains a powerful reminder of nature's unpredictability and the importance of scientific inquiry. As humanity continues to explore the universe, the lessons learned from that fateful day in 1908 will guide future generations in their quest for knowledge and understanding. In the heart of Siberia, the forest has slowly begun to heal. New trees have taken root, and life has returned to the land. But the memory of the explosion lingers, a testament to the power of nature and the resilience of the human spirit.